They thought the silence was your surrender. They mistook the stillness for defeat. They celebrated in the echo of a battle they believed they had won, not realizing the war was never with you, but for you. All this time, while you were in the furnace, you thought you were being consumed. But the divine was merely tempering steel. The heat was not meant to destroy you, but to separate you from every impurity they had projected onto you, every lie, every label, every limitation. And now, a shift in the atmosphere, a crack in the facade, a tremor in the foundation of the very house they built on the sand of your name. Chosen one, lean in close. The performance is over, the curtain is falling, and in the hushed, breathless moment before the truth is unveiled for all to see, someone's mask just slipped. Watch closely. For what is about to be revealed was not your battle to fight, but your victory to witness. They needed a villain for their story of victimhood. They needed a shadow to make their own flickering light seem brighter. So, they cast you in a role you never auditioned for. They wrote your lines, painted your character in shades of gray and malice, and directed the entire play from a place of hidden fear. You stood there, confused, watching a performance of a version of you that you've never met. You tried to speak your truth, but the script was already written. The audience was already convinced. What they didn't realize is that you were never an actor on their stage. You were the one in the audience, watching, waiting for the moment the lead actor would forget their lines. You were the calm in the center of their self-created storm. The truth that would not bend to their fiction, the living testimony that their narrative could not fully contain. Chosen one. If you've ever been cast in a story you didn't write, type "My Truth" in the comments. Let's build a testimony of the misrepresented. A mask is a heavy thing. It is not worn for joy, but for survival. A survival rooted in fear, in lack, in a deep-seated belief that the true self is not enough. The person you are witnessing now, the one whose facade is beginning to falter, built their mask layer by layer. The first layer, a smile that hides envy. The second, a compliment that veils a criticism. The third, a prayer spoken in public that contradicts the curses whispered in private. They have worn it for so long that the mask has almost fused to their skin, but the soul cannot be suffocated forever. It breathes truth, and that truth creates pressure. It is this holy pressure that is now causing the seams to split. The energy required to maintain the illusion is becoming unsustainable, and the fatigue of a life lived in pretense is starting to show around the eyes in the slackening of a once forced smile. You see, the mask was never for your benefit. It was a cage they built for their own soul. And now, the prisoner is rattling the bars. It starts with a flicker, a micro-expression, a word spoken with a little too much force, betraying a nervous heart, a glance that darts away a moment too soon, a story that changes just slightly in the retelling. This is the mask slipping. This is the weight of a lie becoming too heavy for the face that carries it. They practiced their part for so long, they almost believed it themselves. But the soul has a conscience, and the spirit has a memory. And in an unguarded moment, the truth, like a stubborn weed, breaks through the concrete of their deception. Perhaps it's an old friend who suddenly sees a glimpse of the manipulation. Perhaps it's a business partner who notices a financial discrepancy that contradicts their story of poverty. Perhaps it's their own reflection, finally becoming too clear to ignore. You see, the universe doesn't conspire against you. It conspires for your vindication. It creates these divine moments of exposure, these holy stumbles, where the performance fails and the raw, unedited truth is broadcast for a single. They had to isolate you. It was their primary strategy, to cut you off from your support, from your voice, from your own sense of reality. They created an echo chamber where only their narrative could survive. They whispered, they gossiped, they painted you as unstable, unreliable, unworthy. They needed you alone because in the silence, they thought your spirit would break. But they misread the map of your soul. Your isolation was not a prison. It was a cocoon. It was the very place where you were forced to hear the only voice that truly mattered, the voice of the divine whispering your true name. In that solitary place, you shed the need for their validation. You learned to differentiate between the sound of a crowd and the sound of purpose. You discovered that the most powerful agreements are not made in boardrooms or social circles, but in the secret place, on your knees, in the quiet communion between your spirit and God. Chosen one, if your season of isolation became your sanctuary, say, "I hear you," in the comments. Your wilderness was a training ground. While they were busy on their stage, they forgot there was a director for the entire production of life. They forgot that every prop, every line, every scene is under sovereign control. They were so focused on their small play, they didn't notice the heavenly cameras were rolling, capturing every moment, every intention, every hidden deed in the dark. And the divine director, in his perfect timing, is about to play the tape back. Not on the small screen of their limited perception, but on the IMAX screen of divine justice. He is about to show the audience of your life what really happened behind the scenes. He will replay the scene where they lied, but this time, he will add the subtitle of their internal monologue, the fear that drove it. He will replay the scene where they betrayed you, but this time, he will zoom in on the trembling in their hands. God is the ultimate editor, and he is cutting together a final reel that tells the true story, and that story ends with your redemption. What they intended for your harm, God is now using for the grand premiere of your vindication. The credits will roll with their deception exposed and your name cleared. The weapon they used against you was their tongue. The poison they released was their gossip. They set a trap with their words, believing it would ensnare you forever. But heaven has a law of divine return. The wind is shifting, and that very whisper they sent out to destroy your name is now circling back, not as a whisper, but as a roar. It is gathering volume and truth as it travels, and it is coming back to rest at the doorstep of the one who spoke it. The lie they set in motion is returning to its point of origin, and it will knock on their door with the weight of 1,000 truths. The very people they whispered to will become the ones who question them. The very alliances they built through slander will become the courts where they are tried. This is the boomerang effect of a malicious tongue. It always, always finds its way back home. You see, God is not a mockery. What a man sows, that he will indeed reap. You've been asking, why did I have to go through that pain? Why the betrayal? Why the slander? Chosen one, your pain was not a pointless wound. It was a sacred compass. It was directing you away from a territory not meant for you. It was forcing you out of a relationship that would have ultimately caged your destiny. It was severing you from a connection that was an assignment against your purpose. The depth of the hurt was the measure of the importance of the lesson. You had to feel it so deeply, so you would never, ever be tempted to go back. That pain carved out a new capacity in you, a capacity for discernment you never had before. It installed a new operating system within your spirit, one that now automatically flags manipulation and inauthenticity. The pain was the price you paid for an upgrade in your spiritual discernment. It was the tuition for the University of Wisdom you now carry within you. If this revelation is hitting your spirit right now, type compass below. Declare that your pain had a purpose. They took your silence for weakness. They took your refusal to engage in their drama as a lack of defense. They thought your peace was passivity. What they couldn't comprehend is that silence is not empty. True, godly silence is full. It is full of strategic wisdom. It is full of unshakable faith. It is full of a power that does not need to prove itself. While they were expending their energy on a battle against a phantom, you were conserving yours, allowing the divine warrior to fight on your behalf. Your silence was the most powerful statement you could have ever made. It was the sound of your trust in a God who sees all. It was the evidence that your validation comes from a source they cannot touch or influence. In the spiritual realm, your silence was not quiet. It was a deafening roar of faith that shook the very foundations of hell's plans against you. Your rest was your resistance, and now we enter the season of the great unraveling. A thread is being pulled. It starts small, almost unnoticeable. An inconsistency is found in their financial story. A loyal soldier in their army has a crisis of conscience and slips you a message of apology. A piece of evidence emerges from an unexpected place, an old email, a forgotten text, a receipt that tells a different story. And as that one thread is pulled, the entire tapestry of their deception begins to fray. The intricate web they wove starts to collapse in on itself. They will scramble. They will try to patch the holes. They will point fingers elsewhere. But it will be too late. The unraveling has begun, and it is a divine process that cannot be stopped by human hands. This is not your doing. This is the law of sowing and reaping manifesting in real time. This is the universe itself rejecting the false narrative and demanding coherence with truth. Watch closely, chosen one. The truth is a relentless force, and its time has come. Do not despise the scars they left you with. Do not hide them in shame. For you are about to step into a room, into a purpose, into a destiny where those very scars are your credentials. They are the proof that you have been through the fire and did not burn. They are the evidence that you survived the plot of the enemy. The people divinely assigned to you will not look at your scars with judgment. They will look at them with recognition. They will see in your wounds a testimony of resilience and a badge of divine survival. Your past pain is the introduction to your future ministry. The depth of your healing will become the breadth of your reach to others who are still trapped in their own furnaces. You will not just tell them they can survive. You will show them the proof on your life. Your scars are not reminders of what was done to you. They are monuments to what God brought you through. Chosen one, if you receive this, type "my scars," and let's speak a decree over them in the comments. Let's proclaim that they are holy, and that they qualify us for a greater purpose. You remember the feeling of being excluded? Of being the last chosen? The one left standing alone? You recall the meetings you weren't invited to, the conversations that stopped when you entered the room. The divine maestro is now preparing a table for you in the presence of those very same people. He is not just bringing you to a table. He is having them watch as you are seated at the head. He is forcing them to witness your blessing, your promotion, your honor. It will be an uncomfortable grace for them and a vindicating peace for you. This is the divine reversal in its most stunning display. Psalm 23 is becoming your lived reality. Your cup is not just full, it is overflowing in the very battlefield where you thought you would die. And as you take your seat, you will not look at them with scorn or gloating. You will look at them with the peace of Christ, a peace that speaks louder than any triumphant shout. It is a peace that says, "The Lord has done this, and it is marvelous in our eyes." They intended to bury you. Little did they know they were merely planting you. And now you are blooming in the garden of their greatest embarrassment. There were bystanders in your story. People who watched from a distance, who were unsure, who were swayed by the louder voice, the more persuasive performance. The great unraveling is for them, too. It is their moment of awakening. As the mask slips completely and the truth stands bare, their eyes will be opened. There will be no fanfare, no grand announcement, just a quiet, sobering moment of clarity where the puzzle pieces suddenly fit. And the picture they form is the exact opposite of what they were told. You will not need to convince them. The evidence will be self-evident. And in that moment, you must extend grace. For the chosen one is not called to collect apologies, but to shepherd hearts back to truth. Your victory is not in their admission of guilt, but in your freedom from needing it. Through this trial, you have learned a new language. It is the language of spiritual discernment. You now understand the difference between a person who speaks peace and a person who carries chaos. You can feel the energy of a room before a word is spoken. You can sense an ulterior motive hidden beneath a polished compliment. This is not suspicion. It is revelation. This is the gift that was forged in the fire of your betrayal. This new language allows you to build with truth and transparency. It allows you to connect with those who are also fluent in authenticity. The old relationships, built on superficiality and pretense, will naturally fall away. They will not be able to thrive in the high-frequency environment you now carry. Your very presence will become a litmus test for truth. There is an authority that cannot be learned, only earned. It is the authority of the tested. It is the voice that carries weight because it has carried crosses. It is the wisdom that is trusted because it has survived foolishness. It is the peace that is contagious because it has weathered storms. You are now entering a season where this authority will be your primary currency. When you speak, people will listen not just because of your words, but because of the weight of your journey behind them. You will advise businesses, lead ministries, counsel relationships, and create art from a place of proven resilience. Your testimony is no longer just a story you tell. It is the unshakable foundation upon which you stand. The enemy meant to disqualify you through the test, but God has used it to quality you for a platform you could have never built on your own. If you can feel the weight of this new authority rising within you, type "tested" in the comments. The proof of your calling is in your testing. Before we close, chosen one, let us pull the camera back to the widest possible angle. This is not just about a person who wronged you. This is not just about a season of pain. This is a fragment of a much larger cosmic story, the age-old battle between light and darkness, truth and deception. You were targeted not because you are weak, but because the light within you is a threat to the kingdom of darkness. The assault against your identity was an attempt to extinguish a specific aspect of God's glory that you carry. Your victory, therefore, is not a personal one alone. It is a strategic victory for the kingdom of light. Every time you choose forgiveness over bitterness, truth over gossip, and peace over strife, you are striking a blow against the spiritual forces that orchestrated the attack. You are not just reclaiming your life, you are reclaiming territory for heaven. So stand still, chosen one. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. The performance is concluding. The actors are growing weary. The masks, so carefully crafted and held in place for so long, are beginning to crack under the weight of their own deceit. The spotlight of heaven is now swinging away from their stage and is beginning to find you, standing, not in the ashes of what they tried to destroy, but in the fertile soil of your own transformation. You are not who you were when this began. You are not the broken, confused, defeated soul they left behind. You have been refined in the hidden place. Your discernment is now razor sharp. Your compassion is now profoundly deep. Your faith is now unbreakably strong. They did not break you, they forged you. The lies they told about you became the very fire that burned away everything that was not authentically you, leaving only the pure, unadulterated gold of your God-given identity. The curtain is falling on their play, and it will receive no applause. The audience is dispersing, shaking their heads at the sheer waste of energy, the tragic comedy of it all. But your story, your true story, written by the hand of God, is just beginning its epic run. The house lights are dimming in the theater of your past. A new screen is illuminating. And the first scene is about to open with you, not as the victim, not as the villain, but as the vindicated hero, crowned with glory and honor, armed with hard-won wisdom, and radiating a love that only those who have been forgiven much can truly carry. They thought the silence was your surrender, but it was the sound of a seed germinating deep in the dark earth. They thought burying you would end your story. They never realized they were planting a seed. And now the world is about to see what you have become. A mighty oak of righteousness, a shelter for the weary, a living testament to the God who turns graves into gardens. Amen. If this message resonated with your spirit, if you felt this declaration in the depths of your being, then this word was for you. Your season of exposure and elevation is here. Share this video with someone who needs this prophetic confirmation today. Let them know that the mask is slipping and their vindication is at hand. Let's build a community of the chosen in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell because we are breaking every chain and walking into our divine destiny together. Until next time, chosen one, walk in the peace of knowing God is not finished with you yet. In fact, He is just getting started.